So hey guys, welcome back to our channel. In today's video, we're gonna see how to perform SQL injection or SQL injection manually and automatically. So for that, we have a tool which we're gonna use in this video. So this is our SQL injection testing toolkit. So this is our automation tool. We will use that when we go to the automation part. Now we will do it manually. So in order to do, we have this website right here. As you can see in the link, this is a parameter and this is our value. So to check if it's vulnerable or not, we can tamper with the value of the parameter name. So as you can see, it's giving us a blank page. That means it is vulnerable to SQL injection. So if it shows any blank page or any kind of error, so you can instantly know that the web page is vulnerable to SQL injection. So let's try to do something manually. You can see after the root value, it shows us something. The name of the value, which is root, and an age. Okay, it's a pretty interesting thing. So let's try to tamper it with this. As you can see, it's showing us error. So let's try to bypass this error with this payload. You can see even after given this, it's showing us the root value. That means this is vulnerable to SQL injection. So now we can extract all the users from this particular website with our OR payload. So before we do that, I'll try to explain what this payload does. Let me remove this comment. Let's see if this works, then it's a pretty vulnerable website. You can see it's not working for us. After commenting that, it is working for us. So yeah, it's not that vulnerable. Okay, so let's try to understand how that works. For an example, let's try to understand. So for that, I will open up and we'll open up a terminal and let's try to see what's going on in the server. Okay, so when we run this, so now we will try to understand what's going on on the background server. So when we have entered this root value in the background server, it's running something like select star from table. Table is the table name. For an example, in this case, we will give the table name is a user, from user where name equals to root. So when we press this enter, it's giving us this, something like this is going on in the back. So when we remove the root, it's giving us an error. That means when we try to, when we give this single colon, it's running this single colon. For an example, the triple colon. So that's why it's showing us a syntax error. Syntax error. So this is going on in the back. So let's try to temper this. So when we are giving root and 1 equals to 1. So as you can see, it's showing us this root value. So what is actually going on in the back? Going on something like this. And 1 is equals to 1. So this is not an syntax error. In this case, it's a logical state. It's a pretty logical. Okay. So when we give this, payload right here, it's going something like this. So that's why this is a pretty logical. That means the name is equals to root and the value is true. 1 is equals to 1, which is a true argument. That's why it's working. For an example, if we change the argument into 1 equals to 2, it's not going to work like that. It's a false argument. That's why it's showing us a syntax error. So let's try to give it 1 is equals to 1. So you can see this is still working for us. So what it's doing is this is filling this, and when we give this is auto-filling for us. So it's going something like this. You can see 1 is equals to 1, which is again a true argument. That's why it's not showing us any kind of error. So if I add another quotation, you can see it's giving us an error. So when we add another quotations, it's going to change into another triple quotation situation that we saw before. So that's why it's not going to work. So if I cancel these quotations, as you can see, it's working. So let's try to extract any other data for us. So for an example, if I have, let me explain another situation right here. For example, 4x1 table. If I create that, let's give this table a name, users. Users. This is our table name. And this is gonna be, for example, my name. Another user gonna be, for example, Marlon the streamer. Another gonna be Speed, another streamer. So yeah, for example, these three are the users of my MySQL server. This user table. So when I give this value, select star from my table, which is the users, where name equals to, for an example, speed, and 1 equals to 1. So what this does, this is gonna show, this is gonna only work for speed. It's a particular like selected name, which is speed, and 1 is equals to 1, which is a true value. So the particular name given for this table is not gonna work for this user, which is Jim, and this user. It's not gonna work for this. It's not gonna work for this. It's only gonna work for this particular user. So if we change this payload into select star from users where name equals to, for example, let's keep the name same, and if we add another operation which is OR and 1 equals to 1, it's gonna change it. It's gonna change the value a bit. For an example, this is our selected name, but in this case it is false, but the 1 or 1 is equals to 1, which is a true value. That's why it's gonna show the results of this user. It can get a bit of confusing at start once you understand how this works. So when we add select star from user, this table where name is equals to this, or so this or argument is, it's making 1 is equals to 1. That means which is a true argument working for this user also, because this is false, like this thing name is equals to speed is not gonna work on this user, but or 1 is equals to 1 is gonna work for this user. So that's why if we give this payload into this, it's gonna extract all the user from here. So this payload, what this payload does is gonna work for every user. It's gonna show us every other user. So that's why we're gonna change this AND into OR. So as you can see, you can see all the particular user of this table visible in the screen. So there's an admin user, root user, user 1, user 2. So we can change it into admin. So as you can see, we are switched from root into admin, the admin user. So I hope you guys understand it manually. Now we will see how to perform this automatically. So before we see this manually, we will check another extract data, like data extraction user SQL. For example, we have this CTF room right here, multi-die, which is pretty famous. So it's a login form. It's not something like this. So if you check the URL right here, so you can see we were tampering with this thing right here. There is no login, something like login form. So you can see here is a login form. So how do we bypass this login form? So let's try our payload that we tried. 1 equals to 1, and let's try to, that means nothing matches our AND value. So we're going to change that into OR. That will gonna work for every user, and it will extract every other user for us. So OR 1 equals to 1. So let's try to give any password right here. So as you can see, it's loading time was good. As you can see, 24 records found, because this, that 1 is equals to 1, it's true for every user. That's why it showed every user. As you can see, there is my name also. I created one. So now we're going to see how to perform SQL injection automatically with SQL map. So SQL map is a very common tool for SQL injection. So if you're on a Kali Linux or any kind of Debian based system, you can just simply sudo apt install SQL map, and it will install for you. If you are using Android or like Termux or a system that doesn't have SQL map, you can simply install it from GitHub. So now we'll see. So if we press SQL map, as you can see, there are some arguments, mandatory options. -u for our user, shell for shell. We'll see that every argument we can. So this is our target. So before I do this form, we will try this. Let's try copy this and try to map -u. So this is our target right here. So now what I'm gonna do, we'll press -- current user and current DBS. So what this gonna do is gonna show us what is the current user of this database and what is the current database we're working. So let's hit enter. My bad. Current DB. So yeah, you can see it's trying. So as you can see, so it's asking us for something. So we are not gonna give any kind of answer for that. We will simply add another options in our SQL map, which is batch, BATCH. You can see batch. What this gonna do, it's gonna answer for us automatically, so we don't have to do anything. So as you can see, it didn't ask for us. It automatically gives this n thing, the y answer, automatically give the answers. We don't have to give the answers. As you can see, the parameter, it is injectable. There is our payload. And as you can see, the current user, which is Pentest lab at a localhost, the current database is exercises. Okay, so that was something. So now we will see all the databases. Let's see how many databases are in this website right here. As you can see, there are only 2 databases, which is this exercise we saw previously and information schema, which every SQL database has. So I think we can't find anything juicy in this, so in this database. So we will see in the exercise database. Let's try to penetrate it with SQL map. So after we select our database, we're gonna press -D and we're gonna paste this exercise database name right here, and we will add --tables to extract all the tables from this exercise. As you can see, user tables. So for that, -T and the table name, which is the users, and --columns to extract all the columns of this. As you can see, all these are all the columns, so we don't want to see that. We only want to see name and password. So for that, -C name pass wd. If you wanna see like what is the ID, what is the age, we can do that too. So now what we're gonna do is --dump all to dump all the password and crack it. So as you can see, the table user has 4 entries, columns, and these are the columns of the table users. So as you can see, the name admin, the password is also admin, root password is admin21, user1 password is this, user1 password is this. So now we're gonna see how to perform automation on this form right here. So let's remove all this garbage that you can see this is fresh link. So if you see any form and that's vulnerable, so what we're gonna do is SQL map -u, so our link. So we're gonna add this form for injecting in this form. We're gonna use DBS to extract the database, and we're gonna use batch option, so we don't have to answer any kind of question of their stupid questions. You can see we have successfully injected. These are the payloads, and these are the databases. As you can see, you can simply do like, we can see the databases I've showed already. So if you wanna like dbwa tables, didn't I add batch, so it's gonna answer for us already. So users, we wanna see users, column. So it's gonna show us all the columns of this user. So let's extract the passwords. User and password. We're gonna use dump all. So you can see these are all the password. This is the password hash. We will have to crack the password. So this was pretty easy. So now we're going to see how to do all of this with one command, just one command, and this all mess will be done in one command. So after you install that, you do ls. As you can see, there is a SQL finder, there is a vuln finder, which is our vulnerability finder, there is our CRED credentials finder. It's going to find all the password for us. It's going to save it into this hash dump.txt file. So let's try to do this first SQL. So when you go to any kind of website, it doesn't show us something like this. It first shows us something like this. So after that, we have to find all the vulnerable parameters. So in this case also, it's not going to show us something like this. It's going to show us something like this. So you can see I can manually test it in this example. Then it shows me this. So it's not going to open up like this. For an example, if we go to youtube.com, the URL of this youtube.com has nothing like this. So how do we find all the URLs that has this parameter? So if I copy this, so we'll just Python SQL finder and we'll paste the link right here. So it's gonna find us all the, as you can see, this is all the parameters that are injectable. It's gonna show us the credit score, which is if it is 10 on 10 or 95 plus, then it's vulnerable to SQL injection. You can see all the 32 candidates here. So these are the candidates. You can see this was our target. So I'll just copy that. So now we're going to check if it's vulnerable or no. So for that we will search python vuln tester.py -u and our URL. So it's trying to probe the parameter which is vulnerable with 6 payloads confirmed. So as you can see, it is vulnerable. So yeah. So now we will just python creds finder.py -u for our URL, and that's it. We don't have to do anything. So it will automatically inject it for us. We don't have to do anything. As you can see, all the databases. So it's currently working on this exercise. Fetch the user. As you can see, found the users. Now it will find user which is a juicy. Yes, juicy. It also penetrated the whole table. So it's gonna find all the passwords for us. As you can see, the passwords, it found the passwords. It's saved in the hash dump.txt. If I hash dump.txt, as you can see, the admin's password is admin, root admin21, user secret. So yeah, it was pretty good. So in the case of this form website, for an example, if I go to exact data, this form right here, it's gonna be the same. All you gotta do is just python creds finder -u and it's gonna do the job for us. You can see adding form flag to SQL map automatically. It's gonna add this form flag automatically, so we don't have to. So that's it for today, guys. We have learned how to perform SQL injection manually, how to perform it automatically with SQL map, and how to do it more manually, I guess, with our custom script that is in the description box. It's from my GitHub repository. You can follow me on my GitHub. So our Discord link will be in the description. If you have any question or suggestion or anything you wanna talk about, you can join our Discord server and comment what you wanna see in the next video. Like the video, subscribe for more. So I hope I see you guys in the next video.